What we can't say is just because the fight was at such a exhilarating pace and it was so brutal that all of a sudden someone after the fight is exhausted or goes to the hospital like that. That's what happens in fights like that.
Oh man, just didn't come with the right.
Don't worry, bro.
Ain't nobody worried about your bitch ass.
I've been respectful all my life.
Yeah, fuck what y'all talking about.
Breaking news out of the Teofimo Lopez camp. Teofimo Lopez Jr. has reportedly been hospitalized following his fight with Shakur Stevenson, with serious concerns now being raised about his condition. Emotions explode as Teofimo Lopez Sr. reacts publicly, shifting the narrative from defeat to danger.
Piece of shit.
Would you go to the UK for that? Would you go to the UK for that? Would you go to the UK for that?
I'll go to the UK. I go wherever the fuck. I go to his backyard. You know, screw that motherfucker. You know, but
I mean, it's uncanny. So yeah, I would think, I mean, battered, both battered, exhausted. Like, you know, it was a brutal fight.
The situation takes a darker turn as serious health concerns are now being openly discussed. Details remain unclear, but the messaging is deliberate. This is being framed as more than post-fight damage. The tone suggests urgency, fear, and a camp scrambling to control the narrative.
Serious health conditions. What kind? I don't know. He didn't go into specifics, but I think he posted this video to show the severity, the seriousness of what's going on.
Teofimo Lopez Jr. absorbed sustained punishment and continued fighting through visible damage. The physical toll is now being questioned as medical concerns surface. What was praised as heart is being reinterpreted as prolonged exposure to harm, raising serious questions about the decisions made during the fight.
When he was getting hurt, he kept getting up and he showed heart. You know, it probably would have been easy to stay down and not get your teeth shoved into your fucking back.
Concerns deepen as performance issues are now being highlighted alongside the health scare. Missed shots, poor timing, and unusual movement are no longer brushed off as an off night. The fight is being reassessed as a warning moment that something was wrong well before the final bell.
Despite the outcome, I don't think he looked great in the fight. He was missing and his timing seemed off. He was doing some weird stuff where
Eddie Hearn points to control, balance, and sharp execution rather than chaos. He highlights fundamentals and conditioning. That viewpoint matters because it clashes with the narrative now coming from the Teofimo Lopez camp. The focus shifts from excuses to how the fight actually unfolds across 12 rounds.
I just think Shakur looked strong. You know, Shakur looked like he was punching very hard. His jab was on point. His footwork was incredible. It's his timing. It's his fitness.
Shakur Stevenson explains how the exchanges play out from his view, focusing on timing and contact. He describes moments of impact without emotion. Those remarks now carry added significance as health concerns dominate the conversation around Teofimo Lopez Jr.
Yeah, I definitely did. I feel like he's a fighter, so he tried to fight back. But yeah, I picked him apart. In the second round, I want to say that I told my corner, I said, I'm stronger than he is.
Did you feel like you hurt him at any point in the fight?
Yeah, for sure. I hurt him a couple times. My jab, my left hand to the body, my left hand up top. I put on a great shot.
Bruce Carrington highlights Teofimo Lopez's repeated positional mistakes and poor defensive awareness. He stresses that the fight never offers Teofimo Lopez Jr. a clear opening and frames the bout as almost predetermined from the start. These errors, combined with mounting punishment, contribute to the hospitalization concerns. The commentary exposes a disconnect between perception of courage and actual risk, showing that repeated exposure to danger in the ring carries serious consequences for Lopez Jr.'s health and future career.
Man, he made it easy. You know, I was saying, like, if Teo was to fight more on a back foot and throw punches when Shakur throws, that's the only time you're going to get Shakur. But Teo, he has a habit of getting out of position all the time. He'll double up his right hand, turn square, or turn southpaw. Like, that's not going to work, bro. That's not going to, you're not going to take up enough space to touch Shakur. And Shakur's reflexes and his countering was just keeping Teo at bay. It was an easy night from round one for him. Shakur got the
Coach Wally discusses the fight as if nothing alarming happened, praising legacy and titles. From a breaking news angle, this contrasts sharply with the reported health scare of Teofimo Lopez Sr. The public celebration of victories now collides with serious hospitalization concerns. The commentary underscores the disconnect between official optimism and real-life danger, making the audience question what really happens behind the scenes in the Lopez camp. The narrative shifts from achievement to accountability, framing the aftermath as far more serious than any title could overshadow.
Oh man, I'm very excited. I said this was another legacy fight for him, and
Absolutely.
he got a chance to, establish his legacy once again, winning another title at 140 pounds. So I'm very enthusiastic about his future and very proud of his performance.
Absolutely.
Eddie Hearn praises Shakur Stevenson's dominance and skill, noting Teofimo Lopez Jr.'s frustration and facial damage. From a breaking news lens, the emphasis on visible punishment highlights why Lopez Jr. ends up hospitalized. Hearn's observation inadvertently confirms the severity of the fight's impact. The audience sees that this wasn't just a technical loss, it was a physically punishing experience with clear consequences. Commentary now frames the Lopez camp's reaction not as hype, but as urgent concern for a fighter's well-being after sustained trauma.
I mean, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Is that what you expected from Shakur? No?
I mean, listen, I expected an incredible performance, but I didn't expect it to be completely one-sided. I mean, he won every round, in my opinion. Like, the golfing levels was phenomenal. And I said to Bud, like, going into 12, he could do 40 rounds, Shakur. Like, never out of control, footwork, timing, shot selection. I actually think he could have stopped Teofimo if he just...
Claressa Shields mentions blood and visible damage during the fight, confirming the intensity Teofimo Lopez Sr. faced. The observation of actual blood reinforces hospitalization concerns. Commentary frames the bout as physically extreme and highlights that praise for performance cannot erase the seriousness of injuries. Fans are given the dual narrative of technical execution and medical risk. The Lopez camp's distress and Teofimo Lopez Sr.'s reactions now appear entirely justified, painting a worrying picture of the toll the fight took.
Boxing. and like I told y'all, we was gonna see a little bit of athleticism, but we was gonna see Shakur be using his jab, going to the body. And we saw blood today. Shakur did great today. Only thing I can ask for is a stoppage. I can't ask for nothing else.
Daniel Jacobs highlights skill differences, noting that Teofimo Lopez Sr. never had control. Commentary shifts focus to the physical consequences of being outclassed in such a high-stakes fight. The repeated exchanges and constant pressure now read as more than just technical dominance. They hint at why Lopez Jr.'s health becomes critical. Observers are forced to reconcile admiration for boxing skill with a harsh reality that one fighter is left seriously injured, elevating the situation to breaking news territory.
Teofimo is my guy, but I've always been a fan of Shakur, and I think that Shakur put on a clinic tonight. Least amount of risk, been able to put his skill set into fruition all night. The jab was leading. You can tell the difference in skill set, and that was the difference to me that made the fight. It wasn't about grit, it wasn't about heart, it was about sheer talent, and Shakur displayed that tonight.
Devin Haney notices that Teofimo Lopez Sr. looked unfocused even before the fight began, signaling warning signs that now carry grave significance. Lack of focus combined with visible in-fight punishment contributes to the hospitalization narrative. Commentary frames this as a systematic failure, physical and mental readiness breaking down under pressure. Teofimo Lopez Sr.'s shock now makes sense, highlighting that the risk was evident before the first bell. Fans are urged to consider that this is not just a lost fight but a critical alert about a fighter's condition, turning pre-fight observations into urgent post-fight concern.
What did you make of it?
At the end of the day, if you look at interviews before the fight, I was saying that, something looked off about him. He looked like he just wasn't focused on the fight. He said my name before the fight more than he even...
Bruce Carrington highlights the ease with which Teofimo Lopez Sr. gets overwhelmed, exposing him to relentless damage. The narrative shifts from a technical fight to a dangerous scenario for Lopez Jr., as repeated errors and counters compound his physical risk. The hospitalization now seems a logical aftermath, rather than an isolated incident. Commentary frames Teofimo Lopez Sr.'s public panic as a reaction to this unfolding reality, emphasizing how structural mistakes in the fight led to serious health consequences. Observers are forced to confront the reality that talent gaps can quickly translate into dangerous physical situations.
Shakur looked phenomenal, dominant performance. What do you think about that?
Man, he made it easy. I was saying, like, if Teo was to fight more on a back foot and throw punches when Shakur throws, that's the only time you're going to get Shakur. But Teo, he has a habit of getting out of position all the time. He'll double up his right hand, turn square, or turn southpaw. Like, that's not gonna work, bro. You're not gonna take up enough space to touch Shakur. And Shakur's reflexes and his countering was just keeping Teo at bay. It was an easy night from round one for him. Shakur got the
Claressa Shields details the domination on the scorecards, indirectly confirming the relentless punishment Teofimo Lopez Jr. endured. 11 rounds of near-constant pressure and repeated hits now feed into hospitalization concerns. Commentary reframes celebration of Shakur Stevenson as a backdrop for danger faced by Lopez Jr. Teofimo Lopez Sr.'s visible anger and panic now have context. This was a fight that crossed the line from competitive to medically alarming. Fans are forced to reconcile overwhelming skill with the real physical toll on the losing fighter, raising questions about safety protocols and accountability in high-stakes bouts.
Won emphatically 119, I think, to 109 with the scorecard, so basically like 11 rounds to 1. What did you think about the outcome and the fact that he was able to win so dominantly?
One, shout out to New York, to Bruce Carrington. He's world champion now. I'm so proud of him.
Facts.
Been watching him fight the undercards and all this stuff forever, and to see him become world champion tonight, I was bawling, I was crying, yo. So shout out to him. He shine every time he come out to see his story, see how much he done overcame everything. Now he get a 12th round knockout, looking good against Jermaine Ortiz. Wonderful.
Edgar Berlanga confirms the dominant narrative while emphasizing the physical destruction Teofimo Lopez Jr. suffers over 12 rounds. Commentary frames the fight not as a contest, but as an endurance test that pushed Lopez Jr. to dangerous limits. The repeated exposure to strikes validates Teofimo Lopez Sr.'s public outrage and panic over his son's condition. Observers see that what is described as easy work, from one perspective translates into a serious health crisis in reality. The fight now reads as a cautionary tale about risk, preparation, and the thin line between competition and injury in elite boxing.
Easy work. My brother Shakur spanked his ass 12 rounds like I told him he would. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of my brother, man. He did his thing, man. What stood out the most with Shakur right now? Say it again? What stood out the most with Shakur? Huh? What stood out the most with Shakur tonight versus Teofimo? Wait, what you said? What stood out the most? Oh, Shakur. I already knew he was going to box his ass out. Like, he was going to box him out. Easy work, you know what I'm saying? Shakur's a special talent in the sport of boxing, man, and he's been like that since the amateur.
The aftermath of the Teofimo Lopez Jr. fight continues to dominate headlines as the young fighter remains hospitalized following an intense and punishing bout with Shakur Stevenson. Reports from inside the Lopez camp reveal serious health concerns that have shaken his family and raised alarm across the boxing community. Teofimo Lopez Sr. has been vocal and furious, sharing his outrage over the level of punishment his son endured while emphasizing that accountability must be demanded from those responsible for fighter safety. Observers are questioning the decisions made during the fight as repeated errors, constant exposure to damage, and visible signs of distress now overshadow the result. The situation highlights the thin line between competitive sport and danger, and it serves as a stark reminder that talent gaps can quickly turn into medical emergencies. Fans and analysts alike are weighing in, debating what this means for Teofimo Lopez Jr.'s future and whether stricter oversight is needed. Quick question: whose side are you on? Let us know in the comments, and join the discussion on the safety of fighters in high-stakes bouts.